Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mississippi Advisory Commission on Marine Resources for Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. I'd like to call Commissioner Daniels to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Commissioner Daniels. Director, would you like to lead us in a prayer, please?
I will, but before we start this morning, the one sitting to my furthest right over here would be your left. Happens to be an older man today. So happy birthday, Ronnie. I won't ask your age so you won't have to embarrass you. Could we go to the Lord in prayer? Our Heavenly Father, we thank you so much. We're just so blessed, and we're blessed because you want us to be and because of your grace. And we know that given us the chance to have this commission and have this agency and be able to do the things that we are is all because you want it, Lord, and not us. And we just ask and hope and pray that we would take this commission and take this agency and do it in your name and not ours. Amen.
All right, next up, we have the approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any questions on the minutes from September 16th? If not, do we have a motion to approve? All those in favor? Aye. All right, the approval of the agenda. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the agenda? If there aren't any questions, do we have a motion? All those in favor? Aye. Executive Director's report. It's all yours, General.
Okay. First off, thank you for Biloxi for allowing us to be able to use this building again. I have no idea when we'll be back in our building on Bayview. I know they're working hard on it, and hopefully we'll get something done in the next year. But other than that, I can't tell you. We might be able to move back into the first floor sometime before that in the second floor, so we may be able to move some of the people back. But I don't think we'll have a commission room for a while because they're using it for storage right now. So I don't know what will happen there. But anyway, we'll keep going and we'll keep trying. And once again, we'll have a lot better building when it's all said and done. And before we get started, how about employment contracts? Okay, and we got a new environmental and natural resources, and I am not about to try to say the name, but anyway, y'all can see it on the board there because I'll mess it up if I do. But anyway, we welcome them. William, we'll just call him William. How about that? And he's on board with us. All right, any contracts? Not any, right? Okay, agency update. Got a few things. On bottom oyster lease program is still on hold as far as any leases. The judge ruled that we basically it was unconstitutional to use it as it was. So what I think that the Attorney General's office has filed for a motion to what is it, Sandy? Reconsider. Haven't heard anything on that. Have you? Okay. So we don't know where it's at. In the meantime, what we'll do is we'll just continue to operate as we did prior to the 25 bill, House Senate bill. So we're going to operate under the circumstance that everything, the leases are the ones that are there now and the ones that was there before then, those leases are still there, and there will be no new leases until we have something understood by the legislature. We're going to work with them and try to do something this year, and also it'll be up to the judge and what he decides, and what the courts decide. So in the meantime, we'll just use the whole, all of our oyster bottoms, and we'll continue to, work them, and we'll continue to have oyster season. Any questions on that from the commissioners?
So I gotta tell you, it's been nice seeing those guys out there working. A lot of boats out there every day and, seeing them bringing them in. That's been nice to see each day.
Yeah, and just to give you an idea, let's see, I think I got a list here that tells me a little bit about it. We've had 2,432 sacks so far, and that's pretty good for 2 weeks. We're doing good. They're averaging about 350 sacks a day, which is good. The oysters are beautiful. The oysters are absolutely beautiful, and they got a good taste to them. I think that I'm not sure what the price on the market is, but I know what they're getting per sack is about $30 to $35 a sack as far as the wholesalers. But I'm not sure what it costs on the open market right now. But they're doing 15 sacks a day for Tongan, 20 sacks for the dredgers, and recreational is 3 sacks per week, 7-day period that you can get. So I think we're going to have, depending on what the weather is, ask for a more beautiful day than we have right now. I tell you what, it is absolutely beautiful out there. And this is what makes it so much fun in October in Mississippi. But I think that we'll have a good season from now to the end of November. December, January, February, March, they tend to be a lot of rain during that time, so we'll just have to see what happens. But I expect 90 days plus. 90 days of oyster season. That'll be the first time since 2010. That tell you something? 15 years. It's been that long since they've had that many days. So thanks to the fisheries department, shellfish and all for doing such a great job. Eric and all, y'all appreciate you and Jason and them and everyone, Ellen, and I'll miss somebody, but thank y'all for going out and working hard every day to get this back. I know I stayed on them hard. I was on them hard. I was like, come on, guys, we're just not getting there. We're just not getting there. We're just not getting there. Well, it's there. And if the good Lord is willing, and we don't have to have any major either man-made or natural disasters in the next couple of years, I think we'll be at that 200,000+ sacks a year that we'll be harvesting. And so that'll carry us all the way back to the 2008 time frame. And so that's something else. I tell you what, we're getting there. Any questions? All right, 2019 Bonnie Carey and 2020 Bonnie Carey, what we're doing there is the 92% of the funds have been distributed to 23 of the 24 applicants that we're waiting on, we had done. But we spent a little over 3.7 million a grant program for new and emerging seafood processing technologies that's going out. So I think that you'll see that everything's good. Now we have the 2020, and Tracy and them are working hard on the 2020 right now. We have about $3 million in it. As it stands right now, the shrimpers are getting like $7,500, and then the oysters are getting about $10,000. And the reason for that, oysters still did not even have a season in 2020. Shrimpers did have some form of a season in 2020, but not near as good as it could have been. But we're looking at that. There's a couple of outliers out there that we're looking at, and we're trying to get the answers on it. And as soon as we do, we'll finish it. But I have signed quite a few of them. So most of them are getting paid right now. And so I'm glad to see that. And I know they deserve it. Because, they've waited ever since 2019 to even have an oyster season, basically, because last year was just such a minute one. But we appreciate them, and we want them to know that we're working hard every day to be able to get that money to them. I want to reemphasize one thing. The only state in the Gulf that uses their disaster money to pay the fishermen is Mississippi. No other state uses it to pay their shrimpers and oystermen and finfish and crabbers or anything else for their loss. They only pay them for reimbursement of some equipment they buy or whatever. But Mississippi's the only one. So we got to be very proud of that. At least we're trying to take care of our people. Any questions? All right. Mississippi Seafood Task Force meeting. We've had 2 of them on the 18th of September and the 13th of October. we're working hard. We got a great team and working to be able to come up with what we need to do to be able for the labeling of seafood. And then we're talking about in your grocery stores, we're talking about in your markets, and we're also talking about our restaurants. How do we do it? We don't want to put a burden on anybody and and say we're going to jump out and say do this or do this or do this and then have to turn around and change it. Hopefully, we're going to have some new rules. And when we went into this, we knew this was going to be a walk, not run. We had to walk a little bit before we could run to be able to make this done. So what we're doing is we're going in and we're working, and hopefully we'll have something to take to the House and the Senate to be able to modify Bill 602, House Bill 602 for next year, and modify it to a point to where it's more claritative of how we're going to do this. And it put it to a point of saying, this is what you must do. And then that way, we're not restricting people. I mean, we get caught up in a lot of things. One of the things is, especially grocery stores, because the federal law says that all you have to do is put something on the bag or whatever it says where the country of origin is. Our law says you have to put in there, it says import or domestic in the same label as the size of the item that you're selling. Well, we got to work on that. We can't supersede federal law. We can make it more restrictive a little bit, but we cannot supersede it in that way. So we got to do something to make that work. And the whole intent is for people to know, is it import or is it domestic? That's the whole intent. The intent's not to turn around and hurt anybody. Yes.
I was gonna just mention real quick, and most of you probably know, but I noticed on almost all the restaurants on the seafood menus, domestic or import. So before you even order it, you understand what you're getting at the restaurants.
They're trying hard. And, none of our restaurants are bucking it. None of our markets are bucking it. Nobody's trying to do that. That's not the case. But they just want to know, you take a restaurant that's any size and all, and think about how much does it cost to print them menus? It's a lot of money. $4,000 or $5,000 to print the menus. We can't do that every other week. We got to find a way for them to be able to do it that they don't have to reprint the menu every time something changes. So we got to find some ways to do it. And that's what we're going to work on. We're going to make it work for them. It's probably not hard for Jonathan and them in their processing to be able to do what they need to, because you know what you have when it comes in. But that person at that restaurant may not know what they're going to get this week or next week. And just like speckled trout right now, it's not any for sale because the limit's caught. All right. So, if they had it on the menu and it didn't have any that was already frozen or whatever, then they can't, it's going to be tough. It's the same thing with a lot of things like that. When we reach a limit on what can be bought and sold in the Gulf and other things, and when they reach that affects the restaurants, it affects the seafood markets, it affects other people. So we got to find a way that they can do this and modify what they have on their menus or what they have on their market without having to cause them a whole lot of heartache. And I think we can get there. Any questions? We had a governor's cabinet meeting on the 24th of September. Great meeting. The governor's got 2 years. And then after these 2 years, he cannot run for governor again. And so we got 2 years to get things done. And his emphasis is back on it still. We want to be in January of 2027 or 2028, I guess it would be, when 2027 is the election year, I guess. But anyway, we want to be at that point to whenever he is handing over the reins as governor to the next governor of the state of Mississippi, that we're just as wide open as we were the day that he took over. And that's exactly what he's talking about. He wants it to be this agency. He wants all of his agencies to never back up. He wants them to be 100% going forward every minute. And that's what we're trying to do. And I think that works great. And his idea is, we're in this until the day that we're relieved. And he's going to be relieved in January 2027, 28, somewhere along in there, whatever that date is. And because that's whenever his term's up. We will be in this fight all the way till the end. And it will be as if we just started the race, okay? So we're not backing up. great meeting with him. He thanks everything that y'all do and he appreciates everything about the agency. Man, I tell you what, cruising the coast, did you go? It was beautiful. A little bit of rain, but that's okay. Every now and then that knocked the dust down a little bit. But it was beautiful. I don't know how many pounds of shrimp we went through, but it was quite a few. And I tell you what, we didn't have anybody saying, man, this is not any good. They all wanted more, and they were lined up at Jones Park when we did the Monday and Tuesday there. Whenever they'd take the break from 11 to 12 to 1, because that's what they had told them they would do for the other vendors, they were standing there lined up waiting on the thing at 1 o'clock. When's it going to come out? They wanted that shrimp. It was fantastic. Right here in downtown, right off Lemuse here, just south of where we're at right now, we had a set up on Town Green on Wednesday. We ran out an hour before we were supposed to close. That tells you how many. We went through them that quick. The people were there, and I think the team that did that, and I know Patrick was the large behind that, and Charmaine and Francesca and others, and I thank y'all for all the hard work and all the hard work that the cooking team. We appreciate them for everything they did. But we had people come in and said, yeah, last year we had this. And we only had small coolers. We only get 5 or 10 pounds of shrimp to take home. This year they brought large coolers to get 50 pounds or more to take home. I can tell you what, you could look out there on Saturday night, which was a beautiful Saturday night right before the end of cruising, and look how many shrimp boats was out there working. And every one of them already had it pre-ordered. That's the idea. The idea for us sponsoring Cruising the Coast is to sell Mississippi seafood, and it's working. Because everybody, they're talking it. And I've had a lot of them tell me that they would go into the restaurants and they would say, is this Gulf of America shrimp or is this from a foreign? If they said foreign, they said, we don't want it, we'll go somewhere else if you don't have it. There, the word's getting there. The word's getting out and the people are doing it. And that's what we're going to do to make this work. Any questions on cruising? But thank all everybody. Thank all my whole team for doing everything you did for cruising. We appreciate you. All right, Jackson County Fair, Pascagoula is coming up on, well, it's already happening right now. It's this week, isn't it? So we have Jackson County Fair over there. So if you want to stop by, I think Aisha and a bunch of them are working stuff over there. So please go by and see them. We have a GOA, which is the Gulf of America Alliance, and meeting, and it starts tomorrow in Sandestin. But we're going to be talking about the Gulf of America and where we're going and things that are happening there. So I think it'll be a good deal. I don't know. I don't have an update for you as to what it'll be. CEPA is the 15 southern states, all the 15 southern states, and that's for the fish and wildlife. And they're coming here. The executive directors and others are coming here, and they'll be here next week. And we're at the Beau Rivage. We have a big thing on the Monday night, if it doesn't rain us out. But our team's cooking, and their team, and the wildlife and fisheries team's cooking. So we ought to have a good cook-off there to see who's the best. I know who wins, but I ain't got to ask. I know who's going to win. But we're going to do that. About 500 people, so it ought to be a lot of fun, and we get to tell our story again. Once again, we get to talk about South Mississippi. We get to talk about the marine resources, what's going on. All right, Gulf States, next week also. I tell you, we're busy, and they're going to be here at the Golden Nugget. And so we'll have the Gulf States, the 5 Gulf States will be here, and we'll talk about some stuff. One of the biggest things I'll tell right now is what's going to happen with the federal government. None of us know when they're going to pass a budget. We know they will eventually, but we don't know when. And then the question is, are we going to continue to be able to operate until they do? And that's what we're working on. Gulf States has the same thing. Everybody, we're all working under the same problem. But luckily, we'll be okay, and I think that everything will work out, and hopefully we'll get a bill passed this week so we can put our federal government back to work. Any questions on that? Thunder over the Sound, man, I was looking forward to it. They canceled it yesterday, and that's all because of the government shutdown. They cannot guarantee that they can have the safety and the things that they need to be able to do it. I was looking so forward to having the Thunderbirds again. and letting them come and fly across the Mississippi Sound. So that was so beautiful out there and a lot of fun. But maybe they'll reschedule. Hopefully they will. I'm sure that they're trying to do that. They have a schedule that goes year round, so I don't know that we will get on it in any time in the next, this year or 2026 timeframe, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, hate that happened. The Gulf Council meeting is 3 through 6 at the Golden Nugget here, so we got all 5 states to be here again. Once again, we're talking about what we'll be looking at some different things that are happening, some different fisheries. A lot of it does not affect us as much as it does some of the other. But before we get too far in that, the young man sitting right there in the very back, Trevor Minecreep. Trevor has just been made the chairman of the SSC, which is the biggest committee in the Gulf Council deal. So, Chairman, thank you. This means a lot. Now we not only have a voice, we have a leader that's sitting there talking about what's going to happen. And they set all the fishery stuff. They do, they look at everything as far as the fisheries is what we're doing and the stock assessments and everything else. They look it all over. And what better person to have than Trevor Minecreef? And Trevor, we thank you for doing this. And we know that now that, Trevor's been on it for a couple of years and we had a voice, but now we got a big voice. So thank you very much. All right, we will be closed on Tuesday, November 11th for Veterans Day. And I hope y'all get a chance to honor the veterans of the United States because they gave a lot. Next commission meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, November the 18th at 10 a.m. in Hancock County. At 10 a.m. or 9 a.m.? 10. Okay, because Crystal couldn't get there by then. That's what it was. Not coming across, she'd have to go all the way from one side of the state to the other, But anyway, all right, 10 a.m. Anybody got any questions?
You say Hancock County?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you won't have to go as far.
Yeah, I can leave late that morning.
Yeah.
Anyway, I won't get there at 8:45 like I did today.
I know. Some people got to read your emails in Texas and know. All right. License department has moved. We're at 1716 AJ Holloway Drive. If you don't know where it's at, if you know anything about Biloxi, come down Cedar Lake Road all the way to dead ends. Take a right on Brody. And you take a right and you go down, and at the first stop sign, that you take a left. That's where the AJ Holloway softball, baseball complex all is, the soccer fields. You take a left there, you go down and take a left right in front of where you turn into the soccer fields and all, and you'll see our building on your left. But it's 1716 AJ Holloway Drive. So licensed there, no longer at Pass Christian. So make sure if you need license or anything, you come in and we'll be operational. All right, let's see. Derelict vessels, 216 have been reported, 191 have been removed, 25 are pending, and 3 received court order removals. So Stephen, we appreciate you and Roy on working on that. And I tell you what, we're still number one. We're number one in the Gulf. We've probably done more than any of the other 4 states combined, just that group. So that tells you where we're at. And there's another couple $1 million out there that we're going to try to go get our part of it to be able to continue. So we appreciate it. All right. So I think that's my update on far as the agency update. Now we need to be able to do an update of prior meetings, actions.
Good morning, Commissioners and Director. Discussed at the September 2025 meeting, the Commission recommended and the Executive Director approved a recommendation to follow the staff's recommendation to open areas in the western Mississippi Sound for oyster season to open October 13, with daily sack limits to be set at 15 sacks per day per vessel for tongers and 20 sacks per day per vessel for dredgers, in addition to an order issued by the department to approve methods for harvesting and designated harvest areas. In addition, there was a motion to approve some state saltwater finfish records. First being a conventional tackle belonging to Mr. Chris Barlow for a 4.8 ounce Winchman snapper. Then under the all tackle, there was Holt Gamble's 44-pound, 9.6 ounce yellow edge grouper. And finally, Cooper Wrightson's 2-pound, 8.8 ounce Southern Hake. And that concludes the actions update.
Okay, any questions? All right, Commissioner Director, I think that's my report.
All right, thank you, sir. Congratulations, Trevor, that's impressive, but I'm not surprised whatsoever, man. Good job. Moving on down to the commissioners' report. Does any of the commissioners have anything they want to report on?
I just want to light out. Just want to say thank you to Marine Patrol. We did our Fishing with Buddies event there out of Pass Harbor this month, and they came down. We had a presence there, and that means a lot to them. This year was biggest we've ever had. We were able to take, I believe it was 52 people with disabilities fishing for an afternoon on 39 different boats that volunteered their time, and having Marine Patrol and the county down there in case we needed any help. That was a big help. Thank you guys.
I saw some photos of the event. That was impressive. There was a lot of folks, a lot of people having a good time. Sure.
Couple people told me, they said, I didn't realize it, but I needed that worse than they did. And that's really the takeaway that you leave from that event with. It's a great thing.
Good stuff, man. All right, any other commissioner reports? All right, we'll move on to Office of Marine Patrol, Chief Wilkerson for the report on citations. Yeah.
Been called worse, haven't you?
I would like to say thank you for the kind words. We don't do that. Kind words, but it always helps. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I would like to also congratulate Trevor. You got a top-notch guy right there. Tell you what, you won't ask for no better. Okay, let's get to this old paperwork. We had a few citations that came to mind. We had one guy got citation for commercial activity north of the bridge, crabber. Commercial crabbing north of the bridge. And that's normally what some occasional like to do. Other than that, we look like we had 1,300 stops, a little more, like 1,367 to be exact. 81 citations for the month. It was pretty slow, which is good. Everybody's being compliant. I'll field any questions.
Any questions for Chief? All right, sir. Appreciate the update.
Standing.
Thank you. All right, moving down to the resource management or wetlands permitting is going to be Miss Willa Brantley.
Good morning. I have a presentation about a pre-authorization of a variance that was approved 5 years ago in October of 2020 for minor fill of coastal wetlands that allows for this alternative bulkhead design, also called a living shoreline projects. It would give a variance to Mississippi Admin Code 22, Part 23. It's Rule 8.A now that we've revised those rules in the numbering system. It allows for minor fill in waters of the state located within the coastal zone. And what this does is it makes living shoreline projects for like residential homes on the same playing field as bulkheads and riprap when it comes to permitting. They used to have to go through the whole variance process, maybe have a public hearing, put out a public notice. And this would allow for us to do that without all of those extra steps. Like I said, it's been in place for 5 years now. It's worked very well. We had a few years at the beginning that we had to work some things out with the Corps and the Secretary of State, but we've issued probably 10 to 15 of them in the last couple of years. So it's working really well. We can issue them on behalf of the Corps just like we can with riprap and bulkheads. The project parameters, it has to be less than 500 linear feet in length along the shoreline. That's the same limitation that bulkheads have. They have to be less than 35 feet or less than 25% of the width of waterway from a water line. And that is in line with the Corps of Engineers nationwide permit limitations. And also in line, the 25% is in line with the general permits for how far piers and boathouses and other structures can extend out. So these would be within the same limits across the waterway that piers and other things would. They're required to use native plants only and monitor for and remove invasives as they show up. They have to put proper signage if it's required by the Coast Guard. Most of these are not required to put signage because they don't extend very far from the shoreline, but sometimes they are putting like riprap breakwaters out from vegetation that's already there to protect it. So those will have to sometimes be marked with reflectors. There's also a provision that shoreline accretion does not result in a change in property boundaries. So either the applicant or DMR has to go out there and mark what's the current ordinary high water mark. Right now, most of these are going through Mississippi State University's Extension Center. Eric Sparks and his program are doing them, and they are getting GPS points for the current mean high water line and turning those in. So we put those in the permit when we issue it, and that way we can go back later if that boundary between public water bottoms and private land needs to be found. We have that, have the numbers to go and find that. Notification for this appeared in the Sun Herald as required. We notified all of the city county governments in the 3 coastal counties. None of those submitted comments. We didn't get any public comments either. We notified all of the offices at DMR and including coastal preserves. None submitted comments. And Archives and History were also notified and did not submit any comments. And Secretary of State did not submit any comments this year, but they did 5 years ago when we issued it. So we will continue to coordinate all applications with them as we do for all other projects in the 3 coastal counties. Again, that shoreline accretion that may happen based on the living shoreline will not result in a change in property boundaries. So people can't use this just to reclaim or claim for the first time property. They can't, the projects have to have a biological component, so they have to be either protecting vegetation that's already there, or the fill is just to bring the elevation up to proper heights for marsh grass to be planted and survive. It's not for people to make their yards bigger or anything like that. So based on the benefits to coastal wetlands habitats that would continue to result from living shorelines and alternative bulkhead projects, we recommend reissuance of pre-approved variants for projects that meet the parameters and limitations of the waiver for living shorelines. I did want to show a couple of examples that we've had go in this. These are projects that Mississippi State has worked with. Typically, they do a little bit of shoreline shaping and planting along the shoreline. They may put in discontinuous breakwater structures further out to protect that vegetation from wave energy. You can see one. This is the before picture up in the corner. You can see the concrete block breakwater that they built out from where they planted the vegetation along the shoreline, and the tide comes over it, open at each end, so fish and other wildlife can get in behind there and access that habitat that they need. On that same project from the previous slide, this is during construction. This is the minor amount of fill and reshaping that this would allow. And wanted to go back to the recommendation, and we recommend approval, reissue, pre-approved variance. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to.
We're actually working on this with Mississippi State in our neighborhood, and to me, aesthetically and ecologically, I mean, I think it's a much better option than just a traditional bulkhead.
Yeah, and not only that, but there are studies, I know of one in North Carolina that showed a girl, she happened to be doing marsh research. She wasn't even researching bulkheads or living shorelines specifically, but a hurricane came in and the bulkhead was completely wiped out and gone, and the marsh looked the same as it did before the hurricane hit. So it also provides sometimes better protection than hardening a shoreline.
I
Yeah.
like it.
Quick question, just curious if this falls under this situation I've seen several times, but there's places on the bayous, or really all over the coastline, that when you have a low tide, it sticks, the mud sticks a good bit out of the water. But the high tide like barely covers it. It's not dry enough to be able to grow anything like out of the ground, so it just turns into like a mud flat. It smells bad. Would those situations fall under this, for to be able to say somebody's shoreline it goes out? Would they be able to fill that in and be able to create some type of vegetation growth on that property? Or
They definitely could. That would be a situation where we would want to look at the habitat though, because those mud flats do provide for birds and things habitat. And I'm sure some of the shrimp and crabs as well, those. So it would just be something that we would look at. But yeah, that's definitely a place where we could do that. Sometimes you have places where there used to be marsh and it's gotten knocked out of the ground by the wave energy. And now it's a mud flat where it used to be a marsh. That would be a perfect
Yeah.
area to do a marsh
I
restoration.
think the majority of them
Waters.
probably had some kind of marsh at one point, but I feel like they just need a little bit of fill just to be able to get to them.
Yeah,
to a
that's
point, yeah.
exactly what this is
Okay.
for. So a lot of times we'll see where there's a bluff, so there's maybe marsh, and then there's a bluff where it starts sloughing off in chunks into the water. This allows them to make that a gradual slope and replant and restore that marsh, and then provide the bulkhead, the breakwater as protection to keep the boat wakes and storm wind from taking the marsh back out.
Understood. Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, Ms. Willa.
Thank you.
Office of Finance and Administration, Ms. Lessman.
Morning, everyone. I'm presenting the financials for the end of September. At September 30, we had state revenue of 3.4 million, revenue of 4.5 million, net income of after 3 months, we had 97.8 operations, Island at 80.
All right, do we have any questions on the financials? Apparently not. All right, appreciate it. All right, moving down to Ms. Charmaine for Public Affairs.
Good morning. Mississippi Department of Marine Resources had 27 media mentions since the September MACMR meeting. News items included DMR's office relocation, the Mississippi Seafood Task Force, and the opening of oyster season. The Office of Marine Patrol participated in the Biloxi Police Department's Festival Against Crime on September 20th, the Scouts Fishing Badge event on September 20th, the Van Cleve High School College and Career Fair on September 30th, and the Cancer Awareness Parade in Bay St. Louis on October 4th, and Waveland's National Night Out Against Crime on October 18th. The Grand Bay Near's Emmett Carsons participated in phenology observer training at the Walter Anderson Museum of Art on September 18th, at the Pascagoula River Audubon Center on September 19th, and at MSU's Coastal Research and Extension Center on September 26th. Emmett also participated in the Butterflies in the Path Monarch Festival on October 4th. The Near's Brianna Andrews participated in the On the Road program at Harrison Central Elementary School October 1st and 2nd, and at Crossroads Elementary School on October 13th. Brianna and Jennifer Cumbis are both currently participating in the Mississippi Science Teaching Association's annual conference in Meridian this week. Grand Bay Near staff are also heading up a booth at the Jackson County Fair held this week at Pascagoula. The Office of Marine Fisheries, Jason Ryder and Emily Satterfield both gave presentations on oysters and artificial reefs at the opening of the French Hermit Farm Store and Trading Post on October 3rd. And the Office of Coastal Resources Management's Allison Baggard gave a career talk to students at East Central High School on October 15th. DMR staff participated in Mississippi Science Fest held at the Walter Anderson Museum of Art on September 20th. Office of Marine Fisheries staff Christina Broussard, Jason Soche, Dawn Thompson, and Emily Satterfield. Office of Coastal Resources Management's Thomas B. Terra, and the Near's Jennifer Cumbis and Brianna Andrews all participated in the Science Saturday event. The agency's cooking team, as well as volunteers from various offices throughout the agency, took part in the 29th annual Cruise in the Coast. The Mississippi Gulf Fresh Seafood Program sponsored Cruise in the Coast for the 3rd year and served as presenting sponsor. During the week, the cooking team boiled 1,000 pounds of shrimp, and samples were handed out to event attendees at Cruise Central, located at Jones Park in Gulfport. Samples were given out throughout the day on Monday and Tuesday at Cruise Central. On Wednesday, shrimp samples and promotional items were given out at the Biloxi Block Party. And to further promote Mississippi Gulf Fresh Seafood, promotional booths were set up at each of the city's cruising events. Visors, koozies, fans, bags, coloring books, and information materials were handed out to event attendees on Thursday in Bay St. Louis and Pascagoula, and on Friday in Ocean Springs. And on October 17th, the agency's cooking team cooked for the Collegiate Invitational Golf Tournament at Fallen Oak. The tournament is hosted by Mississippi State University, Ole Miss, and Southern Miss, and colleges from across the nation competed in the 4-day event. The cooking team also cooked for the Gray Tails reunion held at the Maritime and Seafood Industry Museum last week.
All right, any questions for Ms. Charmaine? Thank you, appreciate it. All right, Trevor, you're up with these finfish records, and every time I look at this list, I feel like I've only caught one out of the 4 or 5 or seen before. It's
Yeah, we
always
got
something new.
a crew deep dropping, so that's it always brings new fish to the table. But first off, I want to, say thank you for the congratulations. Looking forward to the challenge, the opportunity, and would be remiss if I didn't thank the leadership I've got across the board in marine fisheries, Marine Patrol, everybody else that, have helped me through, and then the staff, my staff, marine fisheries staff that have helped get the data to make the decision. So I appreciate all of that. All right. So we got some finfish records. The first one, the epitome of a blind hog, finds an acorn every now and then, is a Gulf flounder. 2 pounds, 1.6 ounce. I actually caught this one a few weeks ago. Don't know where they are. Have no, way to target them, but I did catch it somehow. That's a picture of the fish. That is myself with the fish. A little bit more interesting ones here. The anchor tile fish. It's a new record, 14.4 ounces. The angler is Marshall Slay. There's a picture of the fish. There's a picture of the angler with the fish. This is part of that deep drop contingent that we've got going out. Silk snapper, new record once again, 2 pounds, 13.6 ounces. Scott Thibodeau. There's a picture of the fish. There's Mr. Thibodeau with the fish. And then an all tackle record. It's a Spanish flag. This is one I've only seen like twice in my time here. Pretty neat fish. It's a new record is 12.8 ounces. The angler is Cooper Wrightson. But that's a picture of the fish. It's in the grouper family. You see the stripes and everything, how it gets its name. And that is Cooper with that fish. And then all we need is a motion to recommend the approval of those state records.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Trevor.
Looks like Cooper's giving Rhodey a run for his money
Yeah,
here.
he is, yeah. Did he catch that Spanish flag? Was that in deep water or shallow water?
Yeah,
Deep?
right off the edge of the shelf. Like
Okay.
right on.
Okay, so
where
he
this
was out
drop
200,
at.
300, 400 foot probably.
Last one I saw came out of I think it was like 280 to 300.
Okay.
They might have been a little bit beyond that, but that's kind of where they
He
are.
took a picture by some marsh grass like in a bayou. I don't know if he was setting that up.
That's just where it was weighed in.
Yeah.
It might be by the slip.
I
Trevor,
fig-
if you keep winning this much, they're gonna put you on the cooking team.
Yeah. I figured it out. If you catch something that looks weird, bring it in.
You never know, right? Looks like we're moving down to Aisha Gray for an update on the Grand Bay.
I just wanted to do a quick update and let y'all know that we had National Estuaries Day this past Saturday. And we had some special guests. So we had, sorry. The Congressman Mike Ezell and the director both joined us for National Estuaries Day. So Bill's wife signed him up and brought him out, and they both came out. Really nice day. Had close to 100 people that participated. This is our Seaside with a Scientist event. And so we took them on a boat ride and introduced them to our different scientists as they were working. And so that was really nice. I also got an opportunity to talk to the congressman, director did, and he expressed a lot of support for the NEAR and for estuary conservation. And so we let him know how valuable that was to us to have him representing us. Here's some of the other pictures. We got quite a lot of clapper rails. I've been out several times, but not had the clapper rails actually come up to the boat. You can't really see them. They're in the grass, but you could hear them. That was a lot of fun. And then inside the building, we had different critters for folks to look at and different activities. That was a great event. Here to highlight it. That's all I had. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Appreciate the update. Thank you very much. All right, moving down to any other business or public comments?
You have one thing. Johnny Marquez is here with us, and Johnny is our new, he's on our one of our state representatives for the Gulf Council. And so thank you. And, he's there, and him and Jason Osborne, and it's good to have those two is helping us as our, for the Gulf Council. And we appreciate you coming to the meeting and appreciate you being a part of this.
Thanks, Johnny. All right, well, do we have a motion to close? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you all.